The conversation around Kratom is moving fast right now. New headlines, viral videos, legislative hearings, and plenty of conflicting information seem to pop up every single week. Here at the Kratom Gals, we believe the best way to cut through the noise is bringing consumers together for honest conversations and discussions, plus our own shared experiences. Hey everyone, I'm Madeline Sklar, and welcome to the Kratom Gals. This is a weekly roundtable discussion where every day, Kratom consumers, we come together to talk openly about advocacy, legislation, media coverage, personal experiences, and the issues that are affecting this community. Today, we'll be reacting to the latest Kratom news stories making headlines around the country, plus some of the latest viral videos that are making the rounds and a whole lot more. Now, this show, the podcast, and the tireless advocacy work we do is a labor of love, but it's also a fight. It's a fight against misinformation and a fight to ensure safe and legal access for everyone who needs it. We're entirely supported by our community, by you all. If you get value from this show and believe in this mission that we have here, I want to invite you to become a partner in this work. You can do that over at kratomstoriespodcast.com/support. Now, a little bit about me, if you don't know, I host the Kratom Gals, this weekly live stream that we've been hosting every week for 2.5 years, as well as the Kratom Stories podcast, which is coming back. It's been on hiatus, but is coming back very soon. I'm so excited. And I also host the Kratom Real Talk community at school. If you're watching live, jump into the chat. If you're catching the replay, post a comment. We love hearing from you because your voice matters in this conversation too. Now, if this kind of unfiltered talk resonates with you, please take a quick moment to like and subscribe. It's a great way to help more people find us here. Now, a quick but very important note before we dive in. This live stream we do is for educational purposes only. We are not medical professionals. Nothing shared here should be taken as medical advice. We're here to share personal experiences and advocate for responsible legal access to Kratom. And as always, do your own research. Now, before I bring up the gals, I do want to give out a quick shout out to my friend Christopher Deeney at Christopher's Organic Botanicals and thank him for driving Venus and her mom to Washington, D.C. this week so they could go to Capitol Hill and share their Kratom story. That's a perfect example of the community action your support makes possible here. All right, everyone, let's bring up the gals and get started with the show. Hey, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm always
Hi,
so happy
everyone.
for it to be Saturday.
I know.
Hi, everybody.
Saturday is like our favorite day, isn't it? Good to see y'all. And
Gets us ready for the upcoming week.
yeah. Well, and to just, look back at the past week and all the great accomplishments like you, Venus, going to Washington, D.C. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I was so excited to be able to go with my mom, and I didn't think I'd be able to. When I found out that it was just going to be me and my mom, I didn't think that we'd be able to do it, but we did it. We made our appointment, and I got a half-hour appointment to talk to my state or U.S. senator.
That is amazing. Drowner says, very unfortunate news coming from New York. Has anybody heard anything out of New York? I don't think I've heard anything. So I don't know. Maybe
not as of yet.
Maybe they'll fill us in.
I haven't heard anything.
New York has so many bills and none of them make any sense.
Yeah, there are lots of, some of these states have a lot going on. And then a couple of people have said this week that Texas is banning. Now, I live in Texas, and I haven't heard anything with Texas, so I'm not sure what that's about. I've yet to hear anything, and people that are saying this, I go back to them, I say, where are you hearing this from? Because I'm not sure.
There are a couple communities.
Okay, but they say Texas like
that are looking, but I've not seen word one about the state of Texas.
No, because in Texas, our state legislator meets once every 2 years. They tried to do this early last year, it failed. And so this year, nothing's going to happen. And then it'll start up again next year. Drowner said Ways and Means Committee voted yes on the 70H bill. Is up to the governor now.
Yet more bans when it should be regulation for everything.
Regulations, yeah. And so she hasn't approved it yet. And this is where, phone calls and emails make a difference. Contact legislators in your state. You can contact legislators in other states. And especially if you have friends, family, or you travel to these places, let them know that,
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
I definitely sent a letter to Georgia because my family is there. And so that would affect me anytime if I were to travel again there. I don't often get around to all the states, but I definitely sent one to Georgia.
Yeah. Drowner says, I highly recommend calling her if anyone has time. That's always the best thing. And the beauty is whenever you call any offices, these legislator, state, local, federal, on the weekends, evenings and weekends, it's just going to go to their voicemail, but they have to keep track of every call, every message. They have to document it. And if you're not comfortable actually talking to a live person, do it after hours, do it on the weekend. It'll go to voicemail.
And she's already signed a modified KCPA, so let's hope that she'll see the wisdom in regulation.
Yeah. Well, it's just crazy to me that wherever there's a KCPA, Kratom Consumer Protection Act, that as long as it's being enforced, why is that not being enough? That's regulation. So it just crazy. Just like here in Texas, we have a KCPA. So you would think, okay, we're one of those states that are safe. At least we were always thought to believe that for years now. And then we come to find out, no, that's not necessarily true. This is why we need more education as to how all this stuff works. Because I always thought I'm safe where I live. And then last year, what a wake-up call to find out that they were trying to ban and schedule, like in Louisiana, where you would be criminalized. And it's like, wait a minute, we have a KCPA. You know what we found out? They're not enforcing it. So if they're not enforcing it, my understanding is if they put a KCPA in place, they have a mechanism to enforce it. They have money aside to enforce it.
They should have.
Or should. So why is that not happening? But here's what's interesting. So we've had the KCPA here for years. They tried to go through the process at the state level to get it banned, early last year. It didn't work. And now, here, okay, if they're saying 7OH is an issue, right? That's what the Attorney General is saying. They could have been enforcing it all this time, right? Now he's enforcing the KCPA. Now they're going after. And it's like, and look, I've said a million times here, I'll say it again. I don't consume 7OH. I have no need for it. I use natural kratom, but I'm not going to demonize chronic pain patients who use it responsibly. People that are not chronic pain patients, not to say all, but a lot of them are overusing it, just like a lot of them overuse extracts, or even I'm not sure how, but overusing the powder. I mean, we've seen some pretty crazy videos, like the young guy remember this one, he was holding a whole bag and trying to down tons of powder. It was so gross. Responsible use, people shouldn't be demonized when they're using therapeutic levels of something that they can legally access, which is not the same thing as comparing that to street drugs, like somebody likes to keep doing. So it's like, that's my thought on that. It's interesting that they are, doing that here in Texas. And my opinion, it may not be popular with everybody that's on the panel, or especially, I know Amanda. If Amanda was here today, happy birthday to Amanda, by the way. But she probably
happy birthday.
She probably wouldn't like me saying this, but why didn't they enforce the KCPA sooner and go after these 7OH products that don't meet the regulations? I think they should have. And then our natural leaf kratom would never have been an issue. Because they only say a 7OH. Well, if that's the thing, then do something about it, but don't take the natural kratom with it. That's my thought. Y'all share your thoughts.
Well, they're doing the studies now too, and
Right.
we know that they do want to make it a pharmaceutical. So I'm really just not sure what's going on in the background, but I'll pass it to the other gals to offer
Well,
insight.
and as we have seen repeatedly this year in multiple states, cities, counties, lawmakers are saying, we don't understand this. We don't know how to tell the difference. So we're just going to ban it all.
Hmm.
Educate
Yep.
them, folks.
Yeah.
Teach them.
I agree. I agree. And they're afraid.
Do regulations and enforce those regulations. Make sure that when you're passing KCPAs or whatever you're passing, that there's funding available to enforce the regulations they're passing, because it should not require a ban. It should not have a ban, period.
Yeah. Twinkle, we're getting a lot of background sound from you.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just letting you know. I agree with you for sure. Well, the comments are on fire, by the way. Everybody has a lot to say, which is good. We love that. And accountability, definitely. There needs to be more accountability. Yeah, education is so important.
Start making people accountable for what they're doing and what they're putting into their bodies. Quit blaming a substance when a person took that substance. The substance didn't jump into their body all by itself.
No, no.
Exactly.
And
I
you
think
said
that's
exactly
what
what I was going to
frustrates
say.
me. Yeah, I think that's what frustrates me the most is hearing, oh, well, there's a tox report. Okay, first off, I want to see it. Aside from that, what other substances were there, and how did that person ingest those substances? Did they get them shoved down their throat? Because if it wasn't shoved down their throat by a third party, it's on them, unfortunately. And
Right.
that's sad to say, but it's reality. We have to be held accountable for ourselves.
Well, and like Venus says in this comment right here, pain patients have to keep paying the price. And for so many of us that suffer from debilitating chronic pain, we constantly pay the price for all of this. And, the people that don't suffer with chronic pain, if you don't want to be sympathetic to that, then that's fine. That's you. You do you. We're fine with that. But for many of us, we're constantly demonized. Many of us were demonized for taking our pharmaceutical opiates that we were prescribed and that we took at therapeutic levels for our chronic pain. I did for 9 years every day without any issues. I was never addicted. I never overused them. I just didn't want to suffer in pain. And then losing access is just one of the worst things you could imagine as a chronic pain patient. For somebody that had addiction issues or overusing or whatever, I think their natural thought is, I'll just get them elsewhere because I can and I will and I know how. And for a lot of us in the pain community, it's like, how do I find a drug dealer? And should I have to go find a drug dealer because I can't get the meds prescribed anymore because of this war on drugs? How did I get sucked into this? It was already bad enough. I had to spend 9 years feeling demonized and can't talk about these prescriptions I take because people will be horrified. So I kept very quiet because it's like, I don't think people would react very well if I told them, oh, hold on, let me pop my Oxycontin real quick. I just had to kind of get in the mindset like, oh, people probably just think you're taking a Tylenol. So, but still, you're always thinking in the back of your mind, I wonder what people are thinking. And, I'm always having to take my meds all the time. It's tough. And a lot of people don't understand that or just have no sympathy.
And then some of the stigma also rolls down from other chronic pain patients. For an example, to somebody who might be taking an opioid or somebody who might be using 7 responsibly in low therapeutic doses or microdosing nibbles, and you're still getting judged by other people in chronic pain because what works for them doesn't work for you. So it's just a constant ricochet. It just goes on and on and on. And I don't find that decent.
Yeah. Hey, Amanda. Happy birthday. We
Happy
miss you.
birthday, Amanda.
We miss you on
Hi,
stream.
Happy
Amanda.
birthday, sweetie.
Happy
Okay.
birthday.
Hope you're having a great time. Yeah, so let's go ahead and watch videos. I got lots for us to watch today. And I'm want to try to make time at the end to play that Grant Harding video that I played a little bit of yet last week, but we didn't have time for because it's 23 minutes long and it had gotten kind of late in the day. But I got lots for us to watch. And I think we'll have lots to talk about. So let me start with our first video. Let me cue it up. Let's watch this.
Hey everybody, it's Venus, and this is the Visitor Center in Washington, D.C. We did it. We did it. We did it. I had one appointment with Senator Coons's aide, and we had a great conversation. I dropped off some information at Senator Blunt Rochester's office, and now we're going to go grab something to eat and see if there's any place else we can stop at. So I'm so glad we came. I'm so grateful that my mom came with me.
All right. That was awesome. Thank you for making a video.
Amazing.
Oh, you're welcome. I wish I could have gotten more video, but I was trying to just figure out where I was and getting away from home. I was a little bit nervous. The good thing is there's plenty of guards and guard shacks and people around that can tell you where to go. And there's lots of maps and things like that. So we had an amazing, amazing time.
I am so glad. And I want to again shout out Christopher from Christopher's Organic Botanicals. I just love that he drove you and your mom there and that y'all were able to go. I really wanted to go, but you know, flying and all those logistics, time consuming and costly. And it's okay, it didn't work out. I've gone the last 2 years and I'll go again at some point. But I'm glad that you were still able to go and didn't let things happening deter you from going.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's awesome. And I appreciate Christopher because there's a handful of these companies that are amazing with education and advocacy efforts. And they're the only ones that I get mine from and will talk about. And so that right there is how you can go check that out. But Venus, tell us, what was it like? I know you went last year, but for those that are here with us today, let them feel like what it was like to be there.
Well, at first I thought, because I just had the one appointment and then wanted to see my own reps, I thought, what am I going to do the rest of the day? No, it's not like that. We got there early and it gave me enough time to find out where my representatives' offices were and get there, go to the bathroom, have a snack before we actually have the meeting. So it wasn't stressed. I wasn't getting there at the last minute and nervous. I got to sit there a few minutes before the meeting. And it felt good. And then talking to other people that were coming and going in and out for different things, getting our picture taken in front of the plaque. It felt really, really good. And then just to get into, I didn't think they'd give me a half an hour. I thought it would be like maybe 10, 15 minutes and I'd be out of there. But she brought us back. She sat there. She listened to everything we said. She took a long list of notes. She asked really good questions about the price, the vendors, the testing, just really good questions. And then my mom told her what it was like to have seen me going through, what I went through and how much it means to her to have me back. So I really think that her testimony is more important than mine because she wouldn't be supporting it if it was a bad thing. So, and then, we talked for a half an hour and then I sent her a thank you note on the way when I got back, and she sent me back another note email saying that they were going to research it because I sent them kratomindex.com. Thank you, Sarah and Dan. And so I'm excited that they're actually looking into it. They were interested in what was going on with the states and the bills that they had gone through. So fingers crossed. I just told him I would be so honored to see my representative's name on the sponsor letter, or signing for it. So fingers crossed. I hope it happens. But it was something that I didn't think I could do. And now we can all do it. I think that's what's most important is your home state representatives. And if we all see them, then we can cover them all, you know?
Absolutely. And the thing is, for those that are not aware, like how to advocate, how to do all these things, first of all, yeah, thanks, Twinkle. You don't have to go to Washington, D.C. It's awesome if you can, because, at the federal level, we would love to see a KCPA at the federal level. And when I went 2 years ago, that was the AKA putting out, the federal, getting that going, the federal KCPA. It didn't pass, but that's why a lot of us went, was to be out there to go talk to legislators and aides about the federal KCPA and trying to get some to co-sign on that. And I'm glad that they're, trying to push for that again, to try to get this at the federal level. The thing is,
Yeah.
you could go do this at your state level. You could go do this at your local level. You can do all of it. Going to DC is no different than just going, because like when I went the last 2 times, I went to my local legislative house rep, but they're going to also have an office here where I live. So you can do it, or you do a Zoom, like Venus is really big with just, contacting them and setting up a Zoom call. There's so much you can do. It's just powerful to be on Capitol Hill doing it. And then same thing with your senators. You're going to have your federal senators, but they're going to have offices in your state, and you're going to have your state legislators. That's completely different. You're going to have senator and house rep that are for where you live, and they're just at the state level. And so there's so many different people you can talk to, just where you are a voting constituent, that because you're in office, they're going to listen to you the most, because your your vote matters to them.
Exactly.
And then you can get in with your county commissioners, your city commissioners, your mayor, your city managers. It goes all the way up and all the way down.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I was really nervous about was I didn't have a packet. I didn't have anything to give to them when I went in, and I didn't know how to go about making it. And that's when I went to ChatGPT and all of you. And I went to, my mom and I had our testimonies that we printed out and made them into a PDF with ChatGPT. And then I went to the Global Kratom Coalition's website, and they have a number of different PDF forms that you can fill out. So I took the evolution of Kratom, and they have a 2-page 8-factor analysis explanation. So I took the 5 pages, and then I don't have a printer because the ink is just crazy. So I figured I could do it at Staples. All you have to do is put those PDFs in an email it to the Staples email address. They'll email you back a number. You go in there, put that number in, and you go from there and pick how many you want to print. It just all comes up. So it was so easy, and they collated them and everything. And then I just took them home, put them together. Actually, I forgot the Staples. And just so you know, nobody in Capitol Hill that we asked had a stapler or could find one. We were shocked. So
Really?
make sure you take a stapler.
Good to know. I love that you went to the Global Kratom Coalition's, GKC's website, because they have so much helpful information, and you even reached out to them as well, didn't you?
I did, and even after, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything on the follow-up of things that I should send them, and they were just really, really helpful for me. I really appreciate it.
That's great. That's what the
Nice.
advocacy groups should do, is help us advocate better. And for anybody that missed last week, we get into the whole thing as to, not getting help from one of them when, that's supposed to be what they do. But that's neither here nor there. I'm glad that you went, Venus. I'm so proud of you that you were not going to not go because,
Mm-mm.
of...
I'm glad that didn't deter you from going.
It would have
No.
deterred most people.
Yes,
It would have
yes,
deterred
proud of
absolutely. And you were
Thank
stayed
you.
strong, and you and your mama went, and
There
you
she
could
is.
help.
Yep,
We're grateful.
there's your
And
mom right there.
you got there, and there's our
Mhm.
mama. Yep.
And I appreciate Chris taking us so much, because there would be no way that I could get there and be sane. My mom's a good driver, but you put both of us in a vehicle going to DC and we would have lost our minds. It would have been funny if it was taped, but I would have been a wreck by the time we got there. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much.
Well, I love that y'all all live close enough, even though you and Chris are in other states, but that y'all were like in the Northeast, very different from where I'm at in Texas, where, it takes like a day just to get out of the state.
Or Montana, yeah.
Y'all are so close, and it's great that it was something, even with your chronic pain issues, that you were able to go and do this for the day.
Absolutely.
And now I can't wait to go again with all of us.
That's great. Let me get some more news stories that came out this week that I want to share with y'all and get your thoughts on. I'm sure y'all been hearing the latest news that American Shaman, which is that big 7-OH company, are going to stop the sales. So this is interesting. So let me play this if you haven't seen it yet.
That breaking news here at noon. American Shaman is agreeing to suspend all sales of Kratom and 7-OH across Missouri. This follows months of KCTV5 investigations and an attorney general probe into the dangers tied to these products. KCTV5 investigative reporter Samantha Boring joins us live in studio. Samantha, let's talk about what this means for the company.
I have a concern right here. So they're talking specifically about American Shaman, and why aren't they showing his products? They're showing 1836 Kratom. That is a natural Kratom company. That's Jeremy Stedding's company here in Texas. That's one of the most reputable, incredible natural Kratom companies out there. And he takes things a step further than most. When I interviewed him on my Kratom Stories podcast a few years ago, his products that you see right there, 1836 Kratom, he's a manufacturer that sells to shops and I imagine different distributors and stuff. In order to purchase from his company, they have to take some educational training. They have to watch. He has a series of videos educating them, including information about 7-OH, and it's required before he will sell to them. I wish other manufacturers followed suit. I wish distributors, anybody that gets Kratom to the market, this should be something that is done. But I don't like that this news story is featuring a brand that has nothing to do with American Shaman, has nothing to do with 7-OH. I know they're saying Kratom and 7-OH. I thought American Shaman was I thought the brand was mostly 7-OH. I could be wrong, but this is not even the brand. So any quick thoughts before we watch? Because I just don't
because the media stirs the misinformation, and this is why everybody is confused.
Yeah, it's confusing.
It is. It's confusing.
And I would hope that any distributor that is targeted in these ads, in these stories, actually gets a hold of them and says, no, take my name, take my brand off of there, because that's not us.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see this all the time. But, let me go back to this comment because this is interesting. So Drowner, who's part of the 7-O community, says that the 7-O community firmly opposes American Shaman and all their horrible products. And that's great to hear. And I think more people in the 7-O community should speak out about that.
He started originally, if I'm not mistaken, in the CBD world, and even they don't like him.
So I uncovered an interview with him. It was about a year ago, I think, and I played part of it on here where he talked about his background in CBD and then Kratom, and claiming he was like the first one to jump on the 7-OH bandwagon. So yeah. But Extreme says no vendor should be saying this is like Adderall or like a muscle relaxer or Norco. Exactly. And again, this goes back to the people that call me a 7-OH or I don't use 7-OH. I'm not advocating for its use. I never have. I was the one that did the interview with, what was his name? Goob, who was notorious at the time last year because he filmed an undercover video at the Champs show exposing the 7-OH company and their terrible sales and marketing practices, where on camera, he has them saying, it's just like a perk. This is like a perk, and saying these outrageous things that I don't think anybody would agree with. That should not be how these products are sold and marketed as. And so we played his video here. I even interviewed him. So I just want to uncover truth and share facts and information. I'm not siding one way or the other just because I'm sharing information. Like last year, GKC did a video trying to educate people between 7-OH and natural kratom, and they made this video that I was able to make go viral on my TikTok and had a crazy number of views. Because to me, I'm looking at this content going, okay, that they're trying to make this comparison, and I think this is valid, so I'm going to share that. And I know some 7-O people didn't like I did that, and I know a lot of 7-O people didn't like I did the Goob interview. But I'm a natural kratom consumer. I'm going to always take the side of that. But just because I want to share some information that is right in front of you, is what, am I making stuff up? No, I'm trying to be more like a journalist. It's funny. I'm not trying to be a journalist with this show, but I feel like I've become one because I just want truth and facts to emerge.
The single best thing you, or in my opinion, anyone can do is share information.
Yes.
Education. Let people make their own decisions as to what they want to consume and what they don't. But put the information out there so
Exactly.
that people have good information to look at.
And that's really all I do here. And if Mac at the American Kratom Association doesn't like it, it's too bad. He doesn't decide what people can say or not say. I don't work for any of these advocacy groups. I'm independent. And I just started this show a few years ago because I feel like we need more voices out there. My background is in digital marketing for 30 years. I've also been building online communities for 30 years. And I teach people how to do these things, how to live stream, how to make videos, how to do all these different digital marketing things. And I wanted to put all of that to good use because I'm a passionate kratom advocate, but nobody in this community has the right to tell me what I'm allowed. Well, I hear loud thunder. If I go away for a minute, it's just, y'all keep the show going and I'll come right back. Now I'm worried my internet's going to go out. We're just here to share our personal experience and give other people the opportunity to speak and share their thoughts that are just everyday kratom consumers. And it's all about conversation. And nobody's paying for me to do this. It's like, I just want to offer this to our community.
And that's like us with BAE. We do not advocate for 7-OH, but we do not believe in prohibition. So if people choose to consume 7-OH, at least do it wisely, at least learn the facts and make your own decisions. But we also are doing this out of our own pocket. So I dare somebody to come at me saying differently.
Exactly.
Yeah, education truly is the key to keeping our leaf legal. If we're not educating, we're failing.
Yeah, comments are so interesting. And a lot of y'all agree in the 7-OH community that y'all do not support American Shaman. And that's great to hear. And more people need to hear that because some people like to frame this as everybody in the 7-O community is on board with these practices. And even though as many times as I've said here that I don't consume 7-OH, I don't promote it but just because I'm allowing a conversation does not mean I'm promoting it. I think most people are smart enough to understand that other narrative is very misleading. But I think it's just great that more people in the 7-O community are speaking up and sharing your opinions on things. And it is interesting hearing that a lot of you all say, yeah, we don't agree with American Shaman or some of these marketing practices. I've been saying from day one since 7-OH came out that some of these they're giving drug names to some of these products, perks and dopium. How is that allowed? How does the government allow stuff to be on the shelves this long? I don't mean to be on such a high horse with this, but it's just none of this makes sense. And now all of a sudden there's all this pushback. Where's the pushback been for a couple of years? We've been talking about it here on this live stream for a couple of years.
And it's been a lot more than just a couple of years that 7.0 has been around.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody should be allowed to have their views, have their opinions, and if they consume 7.0H, so be it. This whole live and let, I don't want to get into all that. Live and let live.
Live and
Don't
let
be
live.
educated.
Live
Do it
and
with
let live.
education.
Be educated. Educate yourself. I even say that in the intro each week. It's just educate yourself, understand what you're consuming. If you don't take the time to educate, that's on you. That is on you. So, but yeah, people have lots to say in the comments. We appreciate y'all here that are here live with us. And for anybody watching the replay, chime in the comments. We'll see that too when you do that. I always keep tabs on the comments as well after the show's over. Yeah, they're now saying that the 7.0H hit sooner than they thought. So
there's companies that were using it way, way, way back when.
Yeah. All right, let's keep watching. Let's go back to that video with American Shaman. I had stopped where, they showing 1836 Kratom, which is not a 7.0H brand and has nothing to do with any of this. And they're targeting, this is in Missouri, and they're targeting a Missouri company. This is what they're showing is a brand out of Texas. So I'm not even sure why this is just another reminder why we do the show each week, because the media gets so much wrong, and we're all taught to believe that everything we see in print and everything we see on TV is the truth. I learned, let me do one more high horse. I learned a long time ago that's not true. My very first online community that I built in the 90s, I used to get quoted in newspaper articles and magazines all the time. And then when I go read it, I'm like, because you're taught to believe that all this stuff is true, right? And I'm reading my stuff in print. I'm like, that's not what I said. And I'm like, what are these numbers? These people that's not the numbers I gave them of how many community members we have. I'm like, real quickly, I'm like, wow, they don't always take what you say at face value, and they write things. They're like, so I learned years ago, like, don't always believe everything you read or see on the news.
Yeah. They tend to lie when it suits them.
Yeah. Or sometimes I think it's just they don't fact check, or they didn't take good notes, or whatever. And it's like, and then I used to wonder, like, if they interview somebody, maybe they should show it to the person before they publish, so that way that person can fact check a little bit. I don't know. It's some craziness. All right, let's get back to this story.
And also the customers who've been buying it.
Well, Carolina, we're going to see a lot of changes on the Missouri side. That suspension begins immediately for American Shaman, according to the Missouri Attorney General. This also means the company will stop advertising within the state in 30 days. If they don't stop selling it, the Attorney General says the state may invoke an agreed on $5 million penalty. This all started in November 2025 when the Attorney General's office launched an investigation into the business practices of American Shaman. This is due to repeated FDA warnings and people in Missouri dying from the Kratom products. In December, a KCTV5 special report, we had the president and founder of CBD American Shaman, Vince Sanders, on. He shared, quote, at the time, "We're not going to take something off the market unless we have to, not as long as it's helping people," end quote. After releasing this information today, the Missouri Attorney General sharing, quote, "We stepped in to shut down deceptive tactics that put public health in danger. This resolution protects consumers by taking these products off Missouri shelves." We reached out to the owner of American Shaman for comment. We have not heard back yet. Coming up tonight, we're speaking with the Attorney General later this afternoon. What she has to say about this decision, that's at 4.
All right. So am I understanding this right? They're saying this is just for him to stop in Missouri only. Am I understanding that right? So why are they showing 1836 Kratom, which is not his company, is a Texas-based company and has nothing to do with Missouri? It just doesn't make sense.
Because they walked in and took a picture of one product, not even the correct product.
It's,
because they didn't care. All they wanted was a filler for their
it's
newscast.
just wrong that and we've seen this so many times. Like the times they'll have a news story about 7-OH, but they're showing natural kratom products on the screen the whole time. Yeah, it just, yeah. I'm glad that we watched this and talk about it, because I think most people just don't even notice or realize this is happening, and it's happening so much. And it's a reminder why we need more kratom consumers speaking out and advocating, because these things are happening constantly. And if you're not aware and you're not doing something about it, you're going to wake up one day and you're not going to have access to kratom, like the hundreds of thousands of people in Louisiana last year. The in TikTok, where it's like, pop up your little memories of like this day a year ago or 2 years ago, whatever. The one that came up, I think it was today, is a video I made when Louisiana got banned, and it was a year ago. And I made a video saying, I'm concerned about the hundreds of thousands of people in Louisiana that have no idea this happened. And one day they're going to go try to buy their kratom and they're not going to be able to. And they weren't aware and didn't know.
Yeah. Or all the people in Connecticut.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, this is happening in so many places now.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. So yeah, that news story, very disappointing. The way they're putting a very good reputable brand on there that has nothing to do with any of this. But I think it's interesting. American Shaman's not going to, but they made their gazillion dollars. I'm sure, like a lot of those companies have. So they're probably just going to move on to the next thing, I would imagine.
Well, and he can continue to sell in other states until he finds that next thing. And I would almost bet it's going to be something like Met 15 or one of those.
Yeah, these other products that are not being talked about, but are going to be the next wave of all of this. Extreme's asking, how hard is it to get it out of gas stations? Let's see if Utah actually enforces its new bill, but with no gas stations. I think probably the biggest money in the industry is the gas station and convenience store sales. So I'm sure they're all going to fight hard to keep it there and not let that happen. But will the state actually enforce in states that are supposed to? Who knows? Time will tell, I guess.
Look how long it took Texas.
Right. Years. It took years.
And enforce it. That's going to make a difference. It's going to make them change what they're doing.
Yeah. Exactly. Amanda, if you want to come on, since you said that you're at home and you didn't go out, feel free to come pop in. We'd love to have you here. Yeah, y'all have lots to say in the comments, so thank y'all for sharing. All right, I've got another video. So, Idaho was under attack at the state level, and they fought back, and it did not get banned there. But as we see many times, if the anti-kratom people try a state level and it doesn't work, then they just go town by town, city by city. So now there's a town that looks like is banning kratom. So let me play this.
A second city in Idaho has banned the sale of kratom. Last night, Idaho Falls City Council voted to ban its sale in the city and online retailers targeting people in Idaho Falls. This comes after discussion among city leaders, including the Bonneville County coroner, who says that she's been investigating kratom-related deaths. The city of Sandpoint passed a similar ordinance this spring. The plant-based substance is often sold in powders and capsules and has raised concerns from law enforcement over safety and a lack of regulation.
That was just a short one, but interesting that is now being banned. It said the second city in Idaho.
Yeah. It's where my brother lives. So I have to be very careful.
Well, and you had Happy Hippo at the fly-in this week on Capitol Hill. I happened to catch Morgan, who does the social media at Happy Hippo. She live streamed both days, TikTok live, and I happened to catch. I'm not on TikTok a whole lot, but I'll go check it once or twice a day. And I happened to catch both of her lives, which I thought was pretty cool. And so they went directly from DC this week over to Idaho Falls before going back, to their office where they're located at in Idaho to go testify at that hearing. And there was another news story where they showed one of the guys at Happy Hippo, or showed both of them actually testifying, which was pretty cool. But what a shame that it got banned there. A real shame. And, this happens from time to time. It sure is happening a lot more than it ever has. So I know I've, for some of y'all that have been around a while watching our live streams, y'all know that a little over a year ago, I got to be on NBC Nightly News sharing my story about Kratom. If you haven't heard, this week, NBC did another story on Kratom. Same reporter, because as soon as I heard it, I'm like, I know that voice. What's so interesting is he's a reporter based in New York at NBC, but I already knew who he was for years because he was actually local in my city. He was a local reporter for a long time. And when they came to interview me last year, he was great. He was so thorough. He sat hours with me interviewing me. It's a shame that only like such a short amount of it is in the news story. And I'll play that. I'm going to play the new one, and then I'm going to play the one I was in, because it's interesting to compare the two. Very different points of views they're doing now. But when he interviewed me, he was so thorough. He didn't sit there with notes or everything was off the top of his head, which told me he thoroughly researched Kratom, understood everything about it, and we basically just had a conversation for a few hours that just happened to be filmed. It was amazing. So yeah, there's a new one. The title of this, because they always have to have some kind of, title for clicks and views on the NBC News YouTube: New Warnings Over Controversial Supplement Kratom. So let's watch this, because I would love to see what y'all think.
It's sold in gas stations, smoke shops, even health food stores. But some users say Kratom, marketed as a natural supplement, landed them in rehab.
I realized it was everywhere.
Meg Lemieux was 11 years sober from alcohol when she came across Kratom online.
There was this bit of an energy boost, but at the same time, a sense of kind of calmness.
Kratom comes from a plant in Southeast Asia, sold in liquid, powder, or tablet form, with claims of increasing energy, easing anxiety, and even managing pain.
Do you remember when you realized, okay, I think I have a problem with this?
I started waking up every night about 6 hours or so after I went to bed and feeling like I wanted to crawl out of my skin.
Lemieux says it led her to relapse with alcohol and into treatment programs for both substances. A new CDC analysis shows poison control calls involving Kratom reached a record 3,400 cases in 2025, up about 1,200% since 2015. Over that time, Kratom was associated with more than 230 deaths in the U.S. It has no approved medical uses, the DEA calling it a drug of concern, yet it's not federally controlled. 7 states and Washington, D.C. have moved to ban it. Jana Wu is with Northeast-based Mountainside Treatment. They started a Kratom program in 2023.
Kratom may help millions of people. We also need to acknowledge that millions of other people have also struggled and found it highly addictive.
And HHS now says it's focused on creating new guidelines specifically for dangerous synthetic and artificially concentrated products. NBC News reached out to multiple companies selling these products, but did not hear back. As policymakers consider potential solutions, advocates like Meg spread the word about the real problems Kratom caused for them.
If I feel ashamed and I hide it, then that's less people knowing how many of us are out there,
With that, Stephen Romo joins us now in studio. So, Stephen, the big question, I know you've been at this a year covering this story. Why is Kratom so addictive?
Yeah, great question. It's not an opioid, but experts say that it responds to a lot of the same receptors in the brain that the opioids do, and the effects for the user can be quite fleeting. So not everyone feels those addictive effects, though. In fact, some people say they've been able to use Kratom to get off of opioids, something that experts say needs a lot more research before they can actually recommend that. Many others, like Meg that we saw in the story, she says that it had disrupted her life altogether. And in so many of these states, it's still available right next to the chewing gum at gas stations.
Yeah, ruining lives, too. This is terrible. Okay, Stephen Romo, good to see you.
All right. Well.
Oh, I don't like that.
Well, it was very one-sided, and when they had me on, it was not one side, it was two sides. It was both sides, very balanced. So I was hoping when I first watched this, I'm like, I hope this is going to be balanced like when y'all did this last year. But no, this is a very one-sided look at Kratom.
And it all goes back to the same thing we all preach: accountability, responsibility, and education.
Mm-hmm.
None of which that woman was indulging in.
It's always people that are overusing it that have any issues. It is almost always polydrug use. If somebody dies, they never they didn't say that. They just said how many deaths were associated. It's like, okay, but they're typically polydrug use like what, 90% of the time.
Exactly.
I'm curious as to what form of kratom or alkaloids or derivatives, if that applied, it was in order to disrupt her sobriety and then need to go to recovery for both kratom and alcohol again because she relapsed. I'm curious about that. We don't often get the full context, the full picture. So because plain leaf has helped a lot of people not even want to drink.
Oh,
I
that's
think
like
myself included, even though I was sober stopped drinking months before I started taking the kratom. I feel like it assisted. Maybe it does. Maybe it's a placebo thing, but I do feel like it assisted
it's not
in the
placebo.
long run
It's not
because
placebo.
I didn't have the urge to get the alcohol for the pain relief because kratom was assisting me. So there was no, because I drank because my chronic pain was out of line. So I was drinking to, so I'm curious about how, what one was she taking? And then I'm also curious about, the 6 hours later, she's saying that she was affected like that. I've never had that experience from any
Most
of
people
it.
say
So,
they don't.
yeah, I
So
don't
many
know.
people,
Yeah.
or if they do, it's very minimal, like when you stop drinking coffee. Yeah.
And what dosage?
Right.
Yeah, how much was she taking? What strength was she taking?
Was it
How
extract or
often
powder?
was she taking it?
Yeah.
There's so many things that don't get answered in these clickbait articles.
Well, and I think a lot of times the media doesn't understand. We're so used to pharmaceuticals. Do they just assume this is like everything is the same and they're all the same dose, they're all the same form? No, you got the powder, you got the extracts, you got the 7-OH, and some are going to be stronger than others, depending. Like we know with powder, it can depend on the drying process of the leaf with strength. And then with extracts, well, you get companies that just keep escalating the dose. You got same thing with 7-OH. They're not all one size fits all. Look at all the different 7-OH products. When those first emerged, it was like one or two different strengths of it, right? And now it's like you can have something as low as 12 or 14 milligrams. And then we've seen them with 100, 200 milligrams.
Yeah, crazy.
It's like, and we watch that progression because people are getting addicted. And these companies are like, let's be greedy. Let's just keep upping the dose. And even more people get addicted.
We watched that same progression with extracts. We watched that same progression with plain leaf kratom.
Yeah.
It all goes back to let's be responsible.
Responsible. Yeah, we're all adults.
And
responsible.
I don't see them rushing to ban alcohol because of DUIs.
They don't.
I don't see them rushing to ban alcohol because of people having to have liver transplants because of cirrhosis of the liver because they drank themselves to death.
They got big lobbying dollars. That's why.
Right. So, I don't see them going after tobacco. I smoke. I wish I didn't. But I'm not going to go after somebody because I was stupid enough to pick up a cigarette. That's on me.
Even though it would be much easier for you to quit if it wasn't available out in the world. You're taking responsibility and you realize that.
Yeah. Lots of comments. Y'all have lots to say.
And nicotine, smoking is a very, it's tough. It's tough to quit. I'm heading on 5 years, but it was tough. And I was done within a matter of 2 weeks, But a lot of it is the mental, and then the rest of it, and I'm not necessarily bashing nicotine, but it's there's the preservatives and all the junk they put in the tobacco products. We don't know what's in it. We're all guinea pigs all the time with everything. And so, if you can't ever quit, like, what do I want? I'm not going to put somebody down because they can't quit something, because that is a hard one to quit. If you can, if you can't, as long as you know and you're taking responsibility for yourself. I smoked too. I drank.
I've got 56 years I've been smoking, and I've been trying to quit for the last 6.
And my mama too. My mama never could, and she couldn't. So I understand.
Yeah, I'm able to cut down, and I have to allow myself that small victory. Someday I will quit, and hopefully it's not the day I die. Because I know a lot of people that is the only time they were able to quit.
As a stress reducer, sometimes, and I always stayed about half a pack a day, so I wasn't a heavy smoker. But of course, there were times that I would exceed 2 or 3 in a day, and sometimes it became stress relief. Something going on, you're under a heavy, stressor, and you get the cigarette. And so we all do it. It doesn't matter if it's food, if it's an extra soda, if it's a cigarette, if it's a what. We just got to make sure that we keep ourselves as safe as we can be without we just got to take care of ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, let me play the NBC News story I was on last year. So we watched the one that just came out this week, very one-sided. It's anti-kratom. The beauty of the one I was in, when they reached out to me, they were very upfront, and I appreciated it. They said, we're going to show both sides. We're going to show your side pro-kratom, and we're going to show another side with one other person anti-kratom. And I appreciate them doing that, because to me, that's balanced reporting, which is important. And kratom just does not get positive publicity. And I was shocked that my story was on national news primetime last year. That was NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, back when he was still, the anchor. And, you just can't get that kind of coverage. Even though I'm in it so briefly, which sucks, because like I said, they spent hours in my home with the interview and me making kratom and all the stuff. And they were so impressed. And so, yeah, but I'm just so grateful I had this opportunity. So this came out back on March 11th, last year, 2025. So let me play this for y'all.
I'll never forget, those words. He's unresponsive,
Nearly 2 years ago, Trish Bissone's son, CJ Holowak, collapsed at work and died at just 33.
I'm confident that it was kratom that killed him.
Sold readily at smoke shops, convenience stores, and gas stations, kratom is derived from a plant from Southeast Asia and often marketed as a supplement to boost energy, manage pain, and even possibly help kick addictions. It can be bought in liquid, tablet, or powder form. Small doses, the DEA says, provide a stimulant effect. High doses, a sedative effect. And it's big business, forecast to be a nearly $16 billion industry by 2032. Bissone says CJ was taking a concentrated liquid form for pain after breaking his arm in 2021.
Did he say it was helping, or what were your thoughts?
He did say it was helping. He wrote in that text, it's helping.
An autopsy found CJ died from cardiac arrest due to mixed drug intoxication, including kratom. The other substances in his system, Bissone says, were doctor-prescribed medications he'd been taking for years.
We found, I would say, hundreds of empty bottles of kratom.
She's now suing the maker of the kratom her son took and pushing for a bill that would prohibit the sale of kratom in New Jersey, like in these 6 states and Washington, D.C.
Take it off the shelves. It's as simple as that.
But down in Houston, Madeline Scalar credits kratom with saving her life. She turned to kratom to deal with chronic back pain after stopping prescription opioids.
I have degenerative disc disease in both my neck and back. Taking high-powered opioids, my pain level on a good day would be a 6. But when I was using kratom and first got started with it, my pain level seriously goes to a 0.
I wouldn't want my kid going into a gas station picking up a concentrated extract and chugging the whole thing.
Professor Chris McCurdy of the College of Pharmacy at the University of Florida has studied kratom for years. He says in low doses, it's about as addictive as coffee, but there isn't enough research on these new higher dose products. CDC data from 2023 shows 37 states and Washington, D.C. had 1,151 overdose deaths in which kratom was detected. But kratom's contribution to these deaths is unclear. The FDA doesn't regulate it, but warns the public against the use of kratom for medical treatment.
The products are on the market because they are treated at this time as a food or a dietary ingredient.
The American Kratom Association.
That's me pouring kratom on the plate. I love this part so much. The producer said, can you pour some kratom on a plate? So I got my little pretty plate I got at Target a gazillion years ago. And that's me. You don't see my arm or my hand, but I'm pouring I just think it's hilarious. I just want to point that out.
Accuses the FDA of a relentless campaign to keep kratom off the market rather than ensuring consumer safety. The FDA did not respond to our request for comment.
Her having her share her experience with kratom. I met her on TikTok.
Scalar, who hosts a podcast about kratom, says she's far from the only success story, but even she agrees more laws are needed. For Trish Basone,
My son died and he shouldn't have died.
it's just not worth the risk. Stephen Roman, NBC News, Freehold, New Jersey.
All right.
I'm sorry her son died, but what other substances was he taking? Nobody ever talks about those.
His talk screen was online and he had all kinds of things in his system, but the reporter said that he had other things in his system prescribed by his doctor, but there was
It's just, I mean, they mention them in passing, but there's never any focus on them, is what I should have said.
No, there never is.
Guess what? Just because a doctor prescribes it doesn't mean it's not deadly.
Or that you're not abusing it.
Yeah.
Doctors prescribe prescriptions all the time that people overuse. So, right. And that's what gets frustrating with a narrative media will put out as if this is 100% the only way. And that's not necessarily true, So, yeah, Extreme says I should try to get back on. I would love to chat with them again. I was just surprised they didn't, they spent a lot more time on the other person, not very much. But I was grateful that they showed the nation me making my little swamp water kratom tea and showing how harmless it is and me pouring it on my plate that was CRISPR Organic Botanicals. I love how when I open the cabinet, you just see like all my little packages of CRISPRs there. And I still have that bag I poured out. It's so funny because of course I put it, like who isn't going to put it back in the package and still use it, right? It's just, our kratom powder poured on the plate. So I still have that and I've only used it in little bits because it's like, I have my little post on there, kratom on NBC because it was just so cool. So I even made a video last year, like with it. I was making my swamp water. I'm like, I'm gonna make a little video of like the famous kratom that was on NBC Nightly News.
That's really cool. I love that idea.
Yep.
Well, when you're a marketer like me for 30 years, you're always like thinking of like all these little angles of like talking about things. And it's like, I'm gonna make a little video, the famous kratom on NBC Nightly News. Yeah. So I was disappointed the story that came out this week was so one-sided versus that one that they did a year ago that at least was balanced. Same reporter too, quite frustrating.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating. Like you said, the same reporter. He should have had talked about his background with your interview. And I think that would have made it more relevant.
Yeah, I would have thought that there would be some reference, like they don't have to show me anything, but based on they did a story about this a year ago. So, and he learned so much, and he was super impressed. And I'll never forget. And I wish this part had made the cut. One of the things he had said to me was, "What did I think about regulations?" And I said, me and my other kratom friends and advocates, we're all for regulation. And I just, had a whole conversation. He goes, I didn't expect you to say that. It's like they think we're all against that. And so they're just so wrong in the thinking of this. Like we want regulation. We want things done right. We want to know what we're purchasing is safe. instead of this, wild, wild west thing where you're hoping it is. That's why it's important to do your research and buy from reputable online vendors. We've had these conversations before, and I know that so many people they just walk into a shop and just buy whatever's on the shelf, or, somebody gives them Kratom and they don't go and look it up. They don't know anything about it. And then they wonder why, they took too much and threw up, because that's what'll happen if you take too much. Is going to, come back out. It doesn't suppress your breathing. It's not going to kill you. But, if you take too much, then that's like the worst thing that could happen. I don't know. It gets incredibly frustrating that there's just not more education and more responsibility.
So everybody, make sure you contact your local journalists and your local cable companies, radio companies, send them an email and see if maybe you can get some of your stories out there in the public, because we need so many more.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely need more stories out there. And when they had found me last year, it's because of my Kratom Stories podcast. That is how they first discovered me. And the podcast is coming back. I know I've told y'all it's been on a little bit of a hiatus. I didn't mean for it to be on this long of a hiatus, but it's getting worked on. Episodes are getting edited. It'll be out soon. I don't know how soon, but it's going to be back. So I can't wait to have more. And I don't understand why we don't have more people doing things like. We need more people podcasting, put out stories, put out some, people should get off their butts and tell stories about Kratom. So there would be more education. This is going to be a meme somebody can go make, or make a little video clip of this.
Love that.
We need more people sharing their stories. The people that are already doing it, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for people that are sharing your stories, however you're doing it. But for those of you that are just sitting back and you're not doing it, do something. Do something. We all need more voices. That's all I have to say about that. Okay.
Hallelujah.
Just like popped in my head. All right, y'all. Who here caught the Dr. Oz? You could have blinked and missed it, but Kratom got brought up this week in his press conference. Did y'all miss it? Y'all missed it? Okay. Because
I saw it.
I haven't heard anybody talking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. Did I just hear metragenine and Kratom come out of a reporter? So I figured I got to play this, because I think most people did not even catch this. So for those that don't know, Dr. Oz did a press conference on June 2nd. That was Tuesday. And a reporter was asking a two-part question. So his first part is long, but the second part is Kratom. And I'm going to play the whole thing is quick, but I want to start where the reporter started, because I want to make sure, and I'm going to put the closed captioning up, because I'm telling you, this is so easy to miss. It happens so fast, but let me just play this.
Well, the first is on most favored nations, the policy. I was hoping that you could explain why the administration thinks it's important to pass legislation codifying these deals. Is the fear that a future president might walk away, and what you make of the congressional pushback? And also on metragenine derived from Kratom, President Trump has expressed interest. Can you describe the debate within the administration on that?
Let me answer the first one, because there's not a big debate on the second one.
There's not a big debate. So it happened really fast. So I'll read it for anybody that just didn't even catch that. I wrote it down so I could read this, because I had to go through this a couple of times before I really understood, because it happened so fast. The reporter was asking on MIT derived from Kratom. President Trump has expressed interest. Can you describe the debate within the administration on that? And his response was, there's not a big debate. And that was it. So, first we're confused.
I would love more clarity on that.
I would too.
Right.
We got confused a few weeks ago when Trump said natural 708. And it's like, well, okay, that can mean a lot of different things. And now it's not a big debate. So anybody have any thoughts on what maybe he?
I don't, but I know that Dr. Oz's clip is what I found 9.5 years ago that led me to plain leaf kratom. So he's obviously educated on it and knows what it is. And it was a positive clip that he did. So hopefully his influence, knowing that, will help this, come out the way it's supposed to come out, and keep it safe. Keep it safe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping with him, RFK, some of the others that are there now, they're going to say enough's enough. Just make it legal.
I hope so. That would be great. It's like, let's just be done with all this.
Yep. Let us stop doing all the hearings and everything, and let us educate people so they can start getting better and get on with their lives, because that's what it's taken time away from, is educating and helping other people.
Exactly. So I wanted to make sure for anybody that missed that with Dr. Oz that you saw that. Still not sure. I mean, they're not saying a whole lot in the administration about this. They had a lot to say a year ago about, we want 708 ban, and then the DEA hasn't done anything. So I think a lot of us just on every side of this, we just all want clarity. Okay, for those that don't know, there's been a couple of hearings in Philadelphia trying to ban the sale of kratom. And we didn't have time last week, but I wanted to play a clip from when Christopher was on last week, because he gave a very compelling testimony. And I want to play that, and then we'll go to the stuff that happened this week. So let me play this for y'all in case anybody did not catch this.
Your testimony. Good afternoon, members of the Philadelphia City Council. My name is Christopher Deeney. I am here to speak about Bill number 260163. I support responsible regulation. I support age restrictions, third-party lab testing, clear labeling, consumer safety standards, and enforcement against adulterated, synthetic, and deceptively marketed products. But I'm asking council not to turn regulation into prohibition. I was hit by a car when I was 8 years old, and I've lived with long-term pain, chronic discomfort, and challenges that come along with trying to stay functional, productive, and present for my family. About 2015, I started drinking natural kratom tea. I drink about 5 grams or 1 tablespoon. For me, natural kratom gave me a better quality life. It has been about structure, balance, and being able to keep moving forward responsibly. The real concern should be synthetic kratom products, adulterated products, and chemically modified compounds being marketed as if they are the same as natural kratom. They are not the same. Natural kratom leaf is the traditional botanical product that has been used for hundreds of years. It comes from the Mitragynous speciosa tree, or plant, which is related to coffee. It is used by adults in tea, leaf powder, tincture, and capsule form. Synthetic kratom products are different. These can involve isolated alkaloids, altered compounds, manufactured ingredients, or enhanced products that do not reflect the natural leaf. The bill already recognizes this problem. It prohibits kratom products that contain synthetic mitragynine, synthetic 7-hydroxymitragynine, or any other synthetically derived compounds of the kratom plant. That is the right direction. The problem is the language requiring FDA approval under Section 505 of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. Natural kratom leaf is not a pharmaceutical drug. It does not belong in the same approval pathway as a prescription medication. If that language remains, the bill could effectively ban natural kratom leaf in the city of Philadelphia, even when the product is tested, labeled, age-restricted, and free from synthetic compounds. Please amend the bill to separate natural kratom leaf from synthetic, adulterated, chemically modified, or deceptively marketed kratom products. Kratom is already regulated by Part 21 CFR 111, which is the FDA's rule for good manufacturing practices for dietary supplements. The FDA did conduct a dose-finding study in 2024, which shows that natural kratom is well tolerated. Regulate the bad actors, set clear safety standards, require testing and accurate labeling, keep synthetic kratom products out of the marketplace, but do not take responsible adults backward by banning access to natural kratom leaf. Regulate the marketplace, protect consumers, preserve access to natural kratom leaf, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
That was great testimony. That was really awesome. I'm so
He
glad.
did a great job, and just explaining the reasons why they were wrong were perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. That was, I just love that testimony. So, so good. And then there was a hearing this week on, what's the date? June 5th. So that was yesterday. That was Friday.
Yeah, actually, it was the 4th. They put the wrong date on there on the video. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to play a variety of testimonies because they did short 67 testimonies from people that were there. And I want to show y'all several of these because it's so interesting. You know, it's interesting seeing all the different people testifying.
Yeah, I like seeing all the people that come up and hearing them, and then listen to how confident they get during each hearing that they go to.
Exactly. So this is City of Philadelphia. They had a Philadelphia City Council meeting, and this was the public comment part of it where people could come in person and speak out. So I'm going to play several of these.
Hi, my name is Ashley Robinson. I'm a 41-year-old small business owner, and I'm here to oppose Bill 260163. I had a whole thing written out, but I'm just going to kind of let it rip a little bit. I use Kratom and 7-0 myself. I'm a chronic pain patient and an advocate with 7 Hope Alliance and other groups. I'm a productive member of my community. I've lived in Pennsylvania on and off for the past 15 years, in Dauphin County, York County, and in Philadelphia at different points in my life. I'm a productive member of my community. I give back a lot. I'm from Baltimore, so I'm not only just familiar with Kensington and the issues here, but the issues that are happening in Baltimore City as well. We are in the middle of an opioid epidemic, and I've, by the grace of God, have been clean for 14 years. But I was part of it as well. So harm reduction saves lives. Kratom and 7-0 saves lives. I think we need to be a little less worried about that and a little more worried about, the bigger issues that are going on at play in our communities. So thank you for your time.
Great. Good afternoon, members. My name is Allison Smith, and I'm here speaking on Ordinance 260173. On behalf of the Global Kratom Coalition, we appreciate the Council's attention to consumer safety, youth access, and common sense regulation. It is no question whether dangerous, intoxicating products should be regulated. They should be. However, the proposed regulatory framework needs to be tailored to address the products that are actually driving public health concerns. With that in mind, some of the bill aspects are good. It prohibits synthetic alkaloids, establishes a 2% limit on 7-OH, requires testing, certifications, labeling, institutes age restrictions. These provisions directly target adulterated high-potency synthetic substances. But then it goes on to make overly broad requirements that make this bill a de facto ban on natural kratom products. That's why I'm here. On behalf of the 23 million natural kratom consumers and the percentage of those that live here in Philadelphia, we ask that you refrain from passing this bill and instead hold the legislation to amend it, to remove natural kratom products from the intoxicating definition and remove the unregulated FDA requirements. This issue is too complex for 60 seconds, and I ask that you educate and modify this bill to ensure access to natural kratom products. Thank you.
I love the applause. A lot of places don't let you do that.
No, and I think it really makes a difference with morale and what gets me is there's hardly ever people there that are against it. Like these, they were all for it, but yet sometimes they'll still vote against or vote for the bill that we don't want. But we're all saying, we don't want that.
Yeah, I got more to play. That's a first block I wanted to play. I got 3 different blocks I'm going to do. But a lot of these places, they don't let you bring signs. They don't let you applause. It's so interesting how it's different everywhere. And I love that people could applaud and hold up signs. That's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to show another one.
Chief Clerk, please, with the title of Bill number 260163.
An ordinance amending title.
Oh, wait, that's not the one I want to show you. Sorry. Hold on a second. Let me queue up the right one because that's not it. That's the last one. I'm trying to keep these in an order so it all makes sense. And I thought that was, yeah, I did the wrong one. Because this was like something that went on for like 3 hours. I don't Venus, the whole thing wasn't Kratom, right?
No, I think it was about an hour that was Kratom. And if I remember correctly, it was the last hour.
Okay.
And then there was something in the middle, if I remember right, after the comments, and then it came back to the last clip that you had.
Okay. All right. This is the next one I wanted to play.
Council President.
Good afternoon, members of the council. One of the justifications offered for this ordinance is that some smoke shops are selling illegal drugs, firearms, and other contraband.
Excuse me, sir. Just say your name for the record,
Sean
please.
Zamorano, Northeast Philadelphia. If that is true, then those activities are already illegal and should be addressed through enforcement of existing laws. Natural Kratom should not be swept into a ban because some businesses may also engage in criminal activity. The presence of illegal drugs in a store is an argument for prosecuting them crimes, not for banning products that are otherwise lawful and have been proven safe by the FDA, NIDA, the World Health Organization, and the DEA. The DEA has not scheduled natural kratom because the gold standard for scheduling is an 8-factor analysis. Kratom does not meet any of the natural kratom for scheduling and is therefore a supplement that does not need to be approved by the FDA. Federal agencies are already recognizing distinction between natural kratom and highly concentrated or synthetic products. I ask that you go back to the drawing board on Bill 260163 and make some amendments for natural kratom. Thank you.
So there's a lot of those. And then I'm going to play at the end where they do their voting. Thank you to Venus for getting all these timestamps together for me.
Anytime.
Always appreciate it.
Affirmative. The bill passes. Would the clerk please read the title of Bill number 260264?
An ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the city of Philadelphia of the proposal set forth in a resolution approved by council proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter to provide for the creation of a creative Philadelphia, to provide for powers and duties of such office, and to otherwise provide for incorporation of the office into city government, and authorizing the appropriate officers to publish notice and to make arrangements for the special election, all under certain terms and conditions.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Thomas for a motion.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption.
No, sir. You would like to.
Thank you, Council President. 1 second, Council President.
It's an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to offer an amendment to Bill number 260264. A copy of the amendment has been circulated to all members of council, and I move for the adoption of the amendment.
It has been moving properly seconded that the amendment to Bill number 260264 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? The ayes have it, and the bill has been amended. This bill will be placed on the final passage calendar for our next session of council.
All right. Well, did I play that? Was that the right one? I played the right one, didn't I?
Yeah. I thought that they put the whole bill through without amendments, but it sounds like what they are doing is putting the amendment through. I don't know what's on that amendment, but I think that is an amendment that is in our favor. But I'm not positive because I'm never positive.
That might have been the one. No, that wasn't the right one. I'm sorry, y'all.
Was that the one from the week before?
No, I'm still playing the one from this week, but I think that was the bill after. I think I'm trying to do these timestamps in order, and it's so hard to get right at the right spot because when it's these long videos like this, I think. Let me check. I don't think that was it. Let me play. That might have been the one after. So let me play. I think I have the right timestamp. Let me check again. Because I remember when I played it before the show today, they all said they all individually did their eyes, and it wasn't on that one. So let me do this one.
Bill passes. Chief Clerk, please read the title of Bill number 260163.
An ordinance amending Title IX of the Philadelphia Code entitled Regulation of Businesses, Trades, and Professions to establish restrictions and regulations related to the sale of certain intoxicating substances and provide for associated penalties and enforcements, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill has been read on 2 different days. The question is, shall the bill pass finally? Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Phillips?
Aye.
Councilmember Gilmore Richardson?
Aye.
Councilmember Gautier?
Aye.
Councilmember Thomas?
Aye.
Councilmember Jones was aye. Councilmember Landau was aye. Councilmember Losada. Aye. Councilmember Young was aye. Councilmember Brooks was aye. Councilmember Harity.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Rourke.
Aye.
Councilmember Driscoll.
Aye.
Councilmember Squilla.
Aye.
Councilmember Bass.
Aye.
Councilmember Ahmed. Aye. And Council President Johnson.
Aye, the ayes are 16, the nays are 0. Majority of all members having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes. Will the clerk please read the title of bill number 2?
All right. So sorry I did the wrong one before. Yeah, that one passed.
Okay, so my first initial reaction was right, and it passed.
It just amazes me that after hearing all those people speak about the benefits of Kratom, how
Right.
safe Kratom is, how we should be allowed to continue consuming Kratom, they still say, yeah, no.
And it was every council member, everyone. And so many
Including
times,
ones that weren't even there.
well, it really goes to show you, because we've seen this time and time again, watching these hearings on this show. When that happens, it very loudly screams to us that their minds were made up. How can you have people coming in there sharing incredibly compelling stories, and it doesn't sway the needle, doesn't move it at all?
They know best. Yeah,
Right. And if you don't like what they do, then vote them out.
Exactly. And let them know that you don't like what they're doing and you're going to vote them out.
Right. When you're very good at that. I love, Venus, how you'll tell us, like, when there's some kind of election coming up and you go reach out to the opponent to share your views about Kratom and like to see what they think, and that you'll vote for them. I love that.
And I think it's important because that way, no matter who gets in, whether it's the person that's in there now or the next person that gets voted in, they'll already have that education and my story in their head.
Exactly. All right. I mentioned to y'all I wanted to make sure we have some time to play that Grant Harding video with 70H. But before I do, I had come across a interesting video. When Robin says, get ready to throw something soft at your screen, this is going to be one of those. This is going to be one that's going to piss off a lot of people. When I saw it at
Thanks
first.
for the warning.
Yeah, I'm giving you all the warning because the first time I saw this, I wanted to throw all kinds of things at my screen because, a stance that I don't believe in. So let me play this for y'all. It's quite interesting.
All right, so I get a ton of people in the comments on my 70H videos saying that 70H is something that they need to take for their chronic pain. So I just wanted to hop on here and address that real quick. First of all, I don't believe anybody needs an unregulated synthetic gas station opioid for anything. And secondly, I don't believe that as a country we have this tremendous chronic pain problem. I just don't think that's true.
What? You don't think we have a chronic pain problem in this country? In case anybody's wondering what part I have issue with.
Can I go inflict chronic pain on that person?
Yes, please do. I mean, what?
I gladly will.
What an idiotic thing to say.
It really is.
Idiotic. Let me keep playing, but it's like, can you believe what just came out? I gotta back that up a little bit. That's just idiotic.
Who is this Yahoo?
Who knows? I don't know.
And secondly, I don't believe that as a country we have this tremendous chronic pain problem. I just don't think that's true. What I do believe is that we have a tremendous opioid addiction problem. Anybody that has gone through withdrawals or that works in the treatment industry knows that oftentimes withdrawal symptoms are exactly the opposite of what a drug does. So you're addicted to opioids, which numb pain and make you not feel pain. Then you go into withdrawals, and then all of a sudden you have this crippling chronic pain and you feel like you can't function, and therefore you go find whatever substance it is that you've been taking, and you just get stuck in that cycle where if you just put your head down and push through, you can come out the other side and be like, oh, it's not that bad. I don't need to be dependent on opioids forever.
Oh, dude, you wait till you grow up one day and have
karma.
And you're going to remember this little video you made in your 20s, how wrong you were. I mean, can you believe the things coming out? And he's saying it in such like feels so righteous saying these things.
Exactly.
Like
Right.
he has life.
Exactly.
Like he's old enough to
Imagine
have
what
life
his parents
experience.
must. Yeah, imagine what his parents must have to go through with that.
It's going to hit everybody one day. It's one accident and one illness away. And I'm telling you, you're going to wish you had some relief and something was available to you that you could take to maintain that. Because after a while, you're either going to drop dead of a heart attack or a stroke, or you're going to kill yourself. Or if you're able to stay in it, there's no quality of life. You can't get out of bed. You're already going to lose your job because you're not going to be able to cope. But then there's people like this out there that they're what pours out the stigma.
Right. Exactly.
They're just
exactly. Yeah, and I had to go look at and see some of his other videos, and just like Extreme says, yeah, he goes into gas stations telling people to get this off the shelves and preaching to them about all of this stuff. And it's like, dude,
holier than thou.
You're
He's
not an
holier than
you're
thou,
not an
righteous,
expert.
saving the world. And,
right.
You know, and what
that's what he thinks, I guess. Is
most of them that do think that they're trying to save lives don't.
No, they're harming.
That they're harming.
They're
lives.
harming.
Yes.
They're harming. Well, let me keep playing because we're not even halfway through yet.
I said the same shit for so long, right? I can't not take this stuff. I'm in so much pain. And it just wasn't true. It wasn't true. And I have injuries. I have pain. But it's nothing that I need to be addicted to.
Dude, injuries is not chronic pain that you live with day in and day out for years and years and years. This guy needs to shut up.
Opioid forever to treat. So I just wanted to get on here and address that. I know it's going to get hate. And that's okay. People are going to be all up in arms saying, who am I to say who has pain? These are just facts. And the fact of the matter is, how many people are saying they have chronic pain that needs to be managed by opioids just isn't indicative of the amount of people in chronic pain in this country. Also, on that note, let's say you do have chronic pain. What are you doing about it?
Where is his logic coming from?
We need to sick Claudia on him.
Yeah. Oh, I think
Yes.
I think I saw people tagging her in the comments. I'm pretty sure I saw that for this.
And maybe he did have injuries, and maybe he did have pain, and maybe he was able to overcome, but that's not everybody. So where he says that that's a fact, it's, you know, so many people are telling partial truths, and because they're telling partial truths, they want to have the whole thing be the truth. But because that is not the same story for everybody, the whole thing becomes a lie.
Exactly. Exactly. Let me finish. We're almost done with it.
What, besides putting an opioid Band-Aid on top of it, what are you doing to actually heal it, to truly feel better and not just numb it? What are you putting in your body each day? Do you wake up and eat a half a box of toaster strudels and drink some chocolate milk?
No.
Or are you putting things of nutrition into your body?
Yes.
What are you having for lunch? Are you cooking your meals? Are you having Whole Foods? Or are you going and picking a double quarter pounder with cheese up from McDonald's?
Whole Foods.
All of these things, lifestyle changes, can make a world of difference to chronic pain. Exercise. Are you walking?
Yes.
Each day? Are you running? Do you lift weights? If you do have chronic pain, ease into it. Do resistance exercises, walking. All of those things have been proven to significantly help with chronic pain and are far more effective in reality than just throwing a little drug Band-Aid to cover up a symptom.
Oh my God, that guy just.
Well,
he is
sir,
certifiably
Shades,
insane.
I have quit drinking. I have quit smoking. I try to do the elliptical or any kind of walking as much as I can. I'm eating better. But the thing is chronic pain doesn't care what day it is. And your injuries and your illnesses, incurable, intractable, it doesn't care that you have a little bit better of a day and you could get that 1 minute in or that 5-minute walk with your doggy or something like that, because it could be hours later or even right then and there that boom, it's done. And now you have to start all over, and it's constantly starting all over. So yes, most of us out here with chronic pain, we're already doing everything that we can. Mindfulness, meditation, biofeedback. We're already doing it. Listening to music, taking Tylenol, taking ibuprofen.
Exactly.
Some of us that are still in the healthcare system are still getting all the injections. It's in the long run going to decay your spine even more. We do it because we're desperate. So, maybe that's his story, but that's not everybody's story. So I'm not going to let nobody tell me that I haven't tried. I am somebody who is always trying.
Well,
always.
And what I think of when I hear someone like that is all of us suffer from chronic pain. We've dealt with it for a big percentage of our lives. It is not visible pain to most people.
Invisible, yeah, exactly, invisible disabilities and illnesses.
So let's put someone like, and I'm going to call her out, Dion, in front of him and have him tell her that she does not suffer from chronic pain. Because that is visible injuries and visible pain things. Go ahead, try and tell someone like that. Try and tell someone that's in a wheelchair with MS. Try and tell somebody who has cancer that, oh, they don't have chronic pain. They don't have pain that needs opioids or kratom, or that little boy needs to grow up.
And I'm sure there's people out there that only had aches and pains and were doctor hopping, shopping, getting pain pills all month long by various sources for their aches and pains that wasn't debilitating or wasn't extreme or wasn't. So there's people out there like that, but he can't put everybody in that same thing. That's what I'm sick and tired of, is everybody's being put always in the same category, and that's not okay.
Exactly. So, yeah.
It's because of people like him that we are facing so many challenges in getting treatment that is appropriate for what we're dealing with.
Exactly. All right. So last up is going to be that Grant Harding. And I know this guy rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I don't like his whole ASMR voice thing, but he's very popular. He has over 1 million followers just on his YouTube. I know he has a lot on his other social media, but he had a video about a week and a half go out, and it's been going viral. He's done a bunch of TikTok shorts as well. They've gone viral. And the title of this is Pharmacist Lab Test the Sketchy Gas Station Pill. So basically he bought some 7-OH tablets. He had them tested. But it's interesting to watch this in its entirety because he's a pharmacist, he understands a lot of things that most of us don't. And he was curious, like, what's really in these tablets? It's not cheap getting them tested. And he wanted to go send them off and find out what exactly is in it. And then he talks about that. He gets it done. He shares what he knows. And then he actually brings on an expert who knows even more than him. And it's very fascinating. And we just didn't have time last week, but I thought it was worth a watch because if anything, it's some good education we can all get out of this and just learn more about, what's in these products. So I'm going to play this for y'all. I don't know if y'all want to, because it's 23 minutes long and we've already been here for, we've only been here for 1 hour and 37, but
we got to do a word too.
Oh yeah. We'll do that. I usually do that at the end. Although we'll save it for the end. But thank you for remembering. Just remind me after we do this part and we'll do that at the end. But yeah, we can, but if y'all want to interrupt at any point to talk about some of these things, or do you want me to just play it all the way through? Do y'all have a preference?
Probably
either one, I guess, maybe.
Either one is fine with me.
Yeah, same.
Okay, I'll start it. I'm gonna step away for just a minute once I start it, but I'll be back once I'm on camera. If there's any point y'all want to stop and talk about any of this, we can. We'll definitely talk about it afterwards. Yeah. But it's super interesting. So this is not about pro versus con with 7-OH. It's just let's educate ourselves on this. And there's a lot of, even though this guy kind of is hard to listen to, a lot of it. So. I know he's a goofy dude, but he has interesting. Some of his stuff is interesting. I know.
I'm looking forward to it.
I played some of his clips on here before, so he's an interesting guy. But let me go ahead and get this started.
Take a look at this guy. So what we have here is Eat Perks 7-hydroxymetragedine. This is a very controversial topic nowadays. Very controversial chemical. It's a watermelon slushy flavored. Love it. All right, so to tell you a little bit about this, 7-hydroxymetragedine interacts with the opioid receptors. When you take this, you feel euphoria, you feel drowsiness, you feel pain relief. Other opioids are things like morphine, fentanyl, oxycodone. This is kind of similar. What I actually like about this chemical is it is different from any other opioid on the market in that the chemical structure is such that it interacts with the opioid receptors in a different way. Plus, it interacts with other receptors, and that could, very, very key word here, could be beneficial. More than likely, the 7-hydroxy chemical itself probably wouldn't be that useful, but maybe a similar chemical could be. Our medicinal chemists could tweak it a little bit, and perhaps it could go through rigorous testing and then maybe help lots of people everywhere. I'm actually a big fan of that. I am a fan of 7-OH research. I am not a fan of 7-OH, and I do not condone its use, and I'm not going to use it here today. I saw one of my favorite wholesome Christian live streamers, AC7IONMAN. I've been following him for a long time, really wholesome content. I think he got banned or something because he tried this on stream, and I believe it was the exact same package, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look into that. Many states are banning this left and right, and it's going to be a nationwide ban soon, I'm pretty sure. So I have to hurry up and get this to the lab before it gets banned. Is this dangerous? Yes. It is habit forming. How are they able to sell this? I really don't know. I think it's just like a gray area because this chemical is unique. Like I mentioned, the structure of it is different from any other opioid. So in my personal interpretation, this is something that was sold due to a technicality, and government is very slow and ineffective. So it's being sold a lot until they're finally catching up, and now they're starting to pull it off the market. But let me show you a little bit more about this package. We'll take a look at a pill, and then we'll get it sent to the lab. I'm Grant Harding. I'm a licensed pharmacist in 4 states, and I like to review sketchy gas station pills, non-sketchy gas station pills as well. And sometimes I like to send them to a lab to get tested. And we find some pretty interesting things in these sketchy gas station pills, things that definitely should not be there. I love the name Eat Perks. Hits the nail on the head. So you can see here the chemical name 7-hydroxymetragenine, 120 milligram total. Now this is very confusing. Each serving is 1/2 of a tablet. So 30 milligram per tablet, 3, 6, 9, 12. I don't know why they put it that way. Another thing with this, watermelon slushy flavored. Are you targeting children? Kind of looks like it. In today's day and age, whenever we see flavors like this, we do assume it's being targeted towards children. But what's wrong with an adult having a watermelon slushy flavored, I don't know, anything? But considering all the negative press about this, that's just another thing to tack onto it. On the back here, see, it talks about the serving size is 1/2 a tablet, 15 milligram. Now, is that the correct dose? Nobody knows. This is one of my issues with this. It hasn't gone through rigorous testing. We don't know what the safe and effective doses are. People use this to taper off of other opioids they may have a habit from. A lot of people say that it's easier to switch to this or Kratom, I guess, and then taper themselves off. Chronic pain is another example. This is an opioid we're talking about here. It interacts with the opioid receptor. So people report using this whenever they have chronic pain, whenever they weren't able to get help anywhere else. Directions. Consult if this product is right for you, and if so, how to use safely. I'm going to tell you right now, no doctor in America is going to know the answer to that because it hasn't gone through the rigorous testing. Warning, ingesting Mitragyna species, including 7-OH, can be dangerous. So another chemical that is in the kratom plant is mitragynine. And mitragynine is metabolized into 7-OH by your body. All of these chemicals are quite similar that exist in the kratom plant. This is just the most potent one. Manufacturers, resellers of this product cannot advise on its use. That's good. Glad they put that there. Consult your physician about potential interactions, other possible complications, and precautionary measures. Before considering this product, do not use if you are pregnant, plan to become pregnant, or while breastfeeding. Warning, this product has not been evaluated by the FDA. We know that. Disclaimer, by using this product, you accept full responsibility for any adverse events or health complications that may arise from its use. Manufacturers/resellers assume no responsibility for the use or misuse of this product. This product may be habit-forming. Not for sale to minors, 18 plus only, 21 in certain states. A couple questions here. Do they really think that this putting this here, manufacturers / resellers assume no responsibility for the use or misuse of this product. Do you really think that protects you? I'm glad they did put this maybe habit forming on here. I will give them a 0.5 point for that. Second thing, which states do you have to be 21 in? Oh, it says here, including Tennessee. So Tennessee, instead of banning this substance, made it so that you have to be 21 to buy it? Am I understanding that correctly? I need to look into that. I will give them a little bit of credit here. They put their name and address on here at least. Most sketchy gas station pills don't even do that. Manufactured in January 2026, so it's still good here. Expires in January 2028. One concerning thing is this little QR code goes to the website and everything is out of stock. Look, Eat Perks. Literally every single thing is out of stock. Sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. What does that mean? Are they just like packing up shop and they're like, it's over? Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. Here, let's pop one of these out to look at it. I already took one out for another reason and I just broke the whole package. Oh, that's cool. They got like a little blister pack thing in here covered underneath the cardboard. You just pop one out. And just to be clear, I do not condone the use of this. I love to see this being researched by people who are qualified to do so. This is habit forming. A lot of people have reached out to me and said it will ruin your life. Do not take this. There we go. Broke that one pretty easily. It did not break down the middle at all. Actually, it did. It just didn't break along the score line. You can see the green little tablet here. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. Oh, that smells exactly like a watermelon slushie. A+ on the smell. Everything else, not good. I got a second pack here I'm going to send to the boys at the lab. All right. Now I just need to put a shipping label on that and get it on its way. What do you think is going to be in it? I think the label is honest. I think it's going to be 7-hydroxymetragenine. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if I see some other metragenine or similar chemicals in there, but I don't think they lied. I think it is what it says it is. Okay, let's send it off and hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Getting a lab to test pills and stuff is actually way harder than what it sounds. Primarily because it's so expensive. Nobody wants to help just like a random individual. They only want to have business clients. But I did find a service that'll do it, and it's called daltonianflux.com. A lot of people want to test stuff, but I'm telling you, it's very expensive. It's dang near, I think it's over $600, really. So what you would do is you would select this test here, and if you want a discount, you can use my affiliate discount code. It's just crush cost, and it'll give you $50 off. But you're still looking at over $500. So this 7-OH chemical is one of the chemicals found in kratom, and kratom is a plant found in Southeast Asia. Anytime you Google kratom, that's the first sentence you see. It's found in Southeast Asia. I'm so tired of reading that. In the kratom plant, there's about 4 active chemicals in the human body, and these chemicals work in a similar way to morphine. Morphine binds to opioid receptors, and it dulls pain, it causes drowsiness, respiratory depression, and it can be habit forming. And also constipation. The constipation is no joke whenever you interact with an opioid receptor for sure. This 7-OH molecule is a very small percentage of kratom. I'm talking like less than 1%, probably even less than 0.1%, but it's very, very strong. It binds to the opioid receptors very, very tightly. But 7-OH probably is only a partial opioid activator. And that doesn't mean it's only partial strength. It's just a unique way of activating it. Additionally, there's other mechanisms that may, again, very, very key word here, may make it safer. But I would say you would need to research this chemical and probably tweak it a little bit before anything could probably be actually used in honest general medicine. And I have been curious for years, how does a 7-OH pill, how does 1 milligram of 7-OH compare to the actual like kratom plant, with the other chemicals like metragenine mixed in with it that all kind of do a similar mechanism of action? And there is no answer to that, but I at least wanted to give it my best shot. All of these numbers I'm about to say are very much a speculation. Different sources say different things. This is just my best guess. So 1 gram of kratom powder has about 10 milligram of mitragynine. Mitragynine is similar to 7-OH, probably not as strong. And 1 gram of kratom powder has about 0.05 milligram of 7-OH. Again, just my guess. Nobody really knows the real answer. Now, the mitragynine is active in and of itself, so we have to count for that. And also mitragynine is converted into 7-OH. So assuming about 20% of that mitragynine is converted into 7-OH, there would be an additional 2 milligram of 7-OH from that conversion. And to count for the mitragynine portion before it gets converted, 7-OH is about 46 times stronger than mitragynine. So logically, we could deduce that there would be another 0.2 milligram effect of 7-OH compared to that 10 milligram of mitragynine. So just with my napkin math here, 1 gram of kratom would have an effect similar to around 2.25 milligram of 7-OH. So that means taking one of these 30 milligram 7-OH tablets is similar in effect to about 13 grams of kratom powder. Just my guess, which is insane. In fact, it's probably more than that, if I'm being honest. I'm curious to know if anyone has taken both, hopefully not at the same time, kratom powder and 7-OH. Is that conversion about right? Does that seem to match up with a personal experience? I'd be interested to know. But let's get to the goods here. Wow. You can see the data that they gave me, and they gave me this little report here. And we do see 7-hydroxymitragynine, no surprise there. But also hydrate of 7-hydroxymitragynine, question mark. And then they give the structure of 7-OH here, which is what we expected. And then this mystery chemical. Okay. I was not expecting this. I thought that this was going to be, what the label said it was. But apparently there's some other things in here. So we have to figure out what else is in here and what the significance of that. Now, Daltonian Flux also sent me the raw data from the mass spec, and I don't know what any of that means. I'm not a mass spectrometrist. But there is one man who I would trust with my life. And he was given this data. So I'm going to contact him and see what he has to say. Hello.
Hey.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you again.
So we have a very interesting pill that we need some help with trying to figure out what the heck is in it. So you had a look at some of the data from the lab.
Yep.
And okay, so we're very confident that there's 7-hydroxymitragynine in it, right?
We are. So the spreadsheet I'm looking at from their data set is sorted by peak height and area. And so the third most intense mass is the 7-hydroxymitra. You're gonna say it better than me, Grant. Mitragynine.
Yeah, apparently it's mitragynine, although that's
mitragynine. That sounds cooler too.
It does sound cool. I've said that before.
Mitragynine. And it also has mitragynine. So at 399, and it has the 415 hydroxymitragynine. And then it has this, I guess they're calling it speciogene.
Hold on. It did have mitragynine as well. I didn't know that.
Correct.
Okay,
it had mitragynine as well.
7-hydroxymitragynine, and then this third one, I guess, is
this third one, which actually gives you confidence that it could be plant derived. So it's called speciogene, and that is a minor indole alkaloid found in kratom leaves. So 3 of them from the plant leaves gives you confidence that it is in there for sure. This crazy thing is the most intense mass at 433. It was not identified, and I don't know what it is. It's similar to, a mitragynine alkaloid. It's just not one that's in the database. I think there's some semi-synthetic chemistry going on where they're taking an extract and then messing around with it with regular chemistry and producing acetylated or hydroxylated, or they're modifying it in certain ways. And then it looks like there also could be other just synthetic opiates potentially being added to it. So that's another concern.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's a lot going on with this. I figured it was going to be just straight 7-hydroxymitragynine. So
I don't know if you can even produce that, right? Because 7-hydroxymitragynine, you would have to be extracted from a plant leaf.
That's
right?
another
And
question I had. Could you
yeah,
make that synthetically? I guess
I don't
not.
think so. I don't think so. I think that the only route to even the backbone of that alkaloid, it's too complex, would have to be semi-synthetic. So like even when they're making, opiates like this in industry for actual pharmaceuticals, they're growing up opium poppies and then extracting it and then modifying it. And so it says like the backbone is incredibly expensive and hard to make because of the stereo centers on these alkaloids. And that's why it's easy to hide synthetics, in my opinion, is because then you're like, it's a needle in the haystack of all these other peaks, where like if you just mixed 2 or 3 synthetics together without that, hiding it, it would be easy to figure out what they were.
Wow. Okay. So I wasn't even expecting that. And that's a good point. You can sort of hide chemicals that maybe are lesser known or have a complex composition underneath, I guess, other
That's
chemicals that may be known, and it'd be difficult to really
exactly.
parse that out. So this is some of the results they gave us back. So, we definitely have 7-hydroxymetragenine here. And then they don't have metragenine listed here, but you're saying there definitely is metragenine in that
Yeah. So
sample?
what I did to go through my process, so they sent you kind of like, these labs, they kind of just like look what you tell them to look for, right? So it was a 7-hydroxymetragenine pill. They found it, confirmed, but then it looks like they also included the masses with their area and retention time with some probable hits in an Excel spreadsheet.
Whenever you were talking about some of the other, let's call them semi-synthetic chemicals that are in this, is it possible that those happened by accident in an extraction process, or do you think that that was more intentional? That
I
the
think it's intentional, because if you look up on Wikipedia, there's a compound called MGM15.
Mhm.
And that is a semi-synthetic derivative of 7-hydroxymetragenine. Putting these on increases potency. And then even more scary, there's one called MGM16, which is another intentionally synthetic one where they've taken a position that has nothing, putting a fluorine on it, which is a kind of a classical drug strategy to make things more potent, is to add fluorine or iodine or some sort of like group like that to make things stronger. So I'd say that the concern is you have something in there similar to MGM15, which is a pretty well-known semi-synthetic designer drug from 7-OH that you can produce.
crazy. So this is much more sinister than what I imagined, and I imagined it was
My
quite
guess is it's
sinister to
more
begin with.
like kitchen sink chemistry, right? Where they know that if they take a kratom extract and mix it with various things, that they can make it get more potent. And so it's some sort of, I'm assuming it's some sort of like dirty semi-synthetic process. Because the thing that's concerning to me about these products, right? And I think you see that a lot. I did a video on Feel Free a very long time ago, is that people don't give enough attention to these opiates in the kratom category being addictive. And specifically if they're adding in these modified or semi-synthetic, much stronger versions, then you have potential of these things being addictive very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are ending up in rehab for these types of products.
So I guess with this sample, we can confidently say there was 7-hydroxymetragenine, there was metragenine, and there was. Do
It's
you have a
called
guess?
speciogenin, another minor alkaloid. So it's definitely kratom leaves is the original extract. But then based on seeing the hydroform, I'm thinking that it is a semi-synthetic designer extract, essentially. So it's they've done something to the extract.
The chemicals that we know that are in there are habit forming, and the ones that we think are in there are probably even more habit forming. Would that probably
I
be
agree. I think
accurate?
habit forming is the biggest concern with these types of products as they get more and more processed. If this green pill has gone far away from being just plain dried kratom leaves, and so the further it goes, the more they have to concentrate it and modify it. Seems like.
Well said, I think.
Yeah.
I was able to confirm eventually that the sample did have 7-hydroxymetragenine. Obviously, that's what it was supposed to have. Metragenine, which is another active chemical found in the kratom plant, does a similar thing, just not as strong. Speciogenine, again, similar mechanism, but that's probably much weaker than both metragenine and 7-hydroxymetragenine. And then there were also additional chemicals, and we don't know what these are. They could be things like MGM-15, which is like super crazy strong opioid, or perhaps something nobody's ever seen before. I continued to talk with Mass Spec Everything about these, what I'll call the pseudo-synthetic kratom alkaloids and what they could possibly be. And the reason why we're not able to know exactly what the structure looks like or even to give these things a name is because we can only compare what we find to what is already known. A good analogy would be like the English language. There's only so many letters in the English alphabet, and they can only be rearranged in certain patterns, meaning every thought that you could dictate at anything you could write down is finite. There is a limited number of sentences that could exist. And in the medicinal chemistry world, it's the same thing, but instead of having letters, you're dealing with atoms here being arranged in space. But the total number of combinations, both in terms of letters making sentences and atoms making structures, is so massively large that your brain just can't even think about it. It's impossible to conceptualize what could happen. So what we have here is essentially a brand new sentence that either nobody's ever seen before or not many people have ever seen before. Or I guess a better analogy would be a word nobody has ever seen of or heard of before, or very, very few people have. You could pretty much guess, most words, if you've never heard it before, what it probably means. But you don't exactly know if you don't have a legitimate source to compare it to, like a dictionary, for example. So these chemicals are similar to ones that we already know of, metragenine and 7-hydroxymetragenine, but we don't know exactly because our medication dictionary, if you will, doesn't include them, at least not yet. Crazy stuff to think about, man. I was not expecting this at all. I knew this was very unsafe, but it appears like it's even more extremely unsafe than you could even imagine. The dose makes the poison. Morphine at an appropriate dose is great for chronic pain, but too much and it can be fatal. And when you mess around with pills like Eat Perks, not only do you not really know what the dose of what it's supposed to be in there, but there's also doses of things that are not supposed to be in there. Very, very dangerous. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this presentation today. Stick around and make all sorts of videos like this.
All right. Well, there you
Well,
go.
the first thing that came to my mind is one, MGM 15 and 16 are able to be tested. They already know, they would know if that was included. The other thing that's possible that my mind went straight to is that there's 52 plus alkaloids in kratom, and some of them have not yet been identified. And if MIT is already in there, or the original, tea leaf, and a minor alkaloid was also found, including the 7, that it could be possible that there's other minor alkaloids, or maybe even a main alkaloid that we don't know what it is yet, because it all hasn't been, they don't know yet.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a list of all 52 alkaloids that give a description of what each one does. And then of course the MGM 15 and 16, we know it should show up in a test. We wouldn't know anything beyond that necessarily, or a research chemical.
My mind immediately went to research chemicals because so many of us have been around for all these years and seen those in play. And especially with it being a brand, Eat Perks.
Mm-hmm.
My impression of them is they don't care about us. They don't care about the consumer. They care about that dollar they're going to make.
Right. And they don't care about what's in the product. Right.
Right. They don't care what they put in it, because if somebody says, oh, that's the wrong thing, change a couple molecules and make a new pill, and nobody's the wiser. So, yeah, that one, I think if they really looked, they'd figure it out. But there again, that goes back to a lot of the issues that people have had with supposed kratom-related deaths when there's those unidentified substances. Guess what? A lot of those go back into the research chemical era.
Right. It was an interesting video, though. Very sciencey and interesting. But
Yeah.
you know, I think he appeals to kids, so I think it's promoting these. There's so much attention on 708.
Big
Like
time.
what? Like he seems so surprised that brand was sold out online. It's like, hello, there's so much attention on 708 these days, and all you hear is it's like a Percocet, or is it like an opiate at your drugstore, at your gas station? People are going to go buy it in droves because they'll be like, oh wow, I can get high or ease my pain with something I can just get at the gas station.
Or a kid, like you said, a kid says, "Ooh, hey, new novel substance. I can go get all my friends high."
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Not to say don't
Marketing
be
to it.
talking about it, but I'm just saying you get some people like this guy that's sending, this message to younger people that's just when you have that audience, I don't think they're going to care about all the science he's sharing. They're going to be like, "Oh my God, let's go try this."
Yeah. I was much more impressed with the man he talked to than I was with him.
Yep, same.
Yeah, so that was an interesting video. I thought it was worth a watch because when I first saw it, it was just interesting, and we don't hear a lot of the science stuff with these products. So.
It was definitely something good to watch and
Yes.
Yeah,
take under advisement to know.
Yeah, if anything, just trying to educate ourselves more and understand. I thought it was funny how he said it smelled good. But also when he said watermelon slushy, that sounds like it's appealing to kids. I like flavors like that. I think automatically when something's pink or a slushy, they automatically say this is appealing to kids. Not necessarily. So I didn't care for his assessment of that. Anyway, so that's our show today. We've been here for 2 hours and 5 minutes. We watched lots of videos. We watched 10 videos today.
Wow.
10 different videos on the agenda. We got through a lot. And as Robin reminded us earlier, let's do our word of the day. I like this little Kratom Gals check-in we've been doing lately, where we, a great way for us to know who's here with us and are tuning in right now for those that are here live. And if you're watching the replay and you're here, we want you to participate as well. And we need to pick our word or phrase. Does that somebody
How about Capitol Hill in honor of Venus?
In honor of Venus this week, going to Capitol Hill to
Oh, thank you.
with legislators and aides, which is so awesome. Did you see? House was, I think all the House and senators were in session this week. So the last 2 years I went, both times, they were all out of session. So the only people we could meet with were the aides. But the aides are the people you really want to talk to anyway. But did you see, because there was a lot of newsworthy things going on in politics this week, and I saw lots of different politicians like on news story, on newscasts and independent journalists, news stories and stuff. So did you see anybody with anything, either inside or outside?
I saw one or two, but nothing like a big crowd or anything. And I really didn't think to look for it. I did see other groups that were there. The Alzheimer's were there, and I think it's something about reproductive rights. They were two big groups that were there, and that's more than what I noticed than anybody filming. So.
Yeah, when I went a couple of years ago, it was something with, and we're not going to go down a politics road, but there was something with Hunter Biden because it was a day that they had him go to Capitol Hill, and I just remember they wouldn't let us get nearly as close to Capitol Hill like y'all, outside there. So a few years ago, we had to stay way further back, but in the distance, you could see news crews and just a lot of hoopla right outside the Capitol. And then I go watch the news, and it's like, oh, somebody that's going to get a lot of news coverage. It was a big deal that day. But I did notice on the news this week, a lot of politicians were around. So I just think it'd be cool, you're just walking around and then you see them all around.
Yeah, I want to get to where I recognize them so I can see them and then run up and just start talking to them, you know?
Yeah. Sherry, I love this. Those of us that are old, we know I got my thrill from Capitol Hill. That's a good one. Yeah, just throw in Capitol. That's great. It's so great seeing everybody here and hanging out with us. Thank you, Sherry. It's okay to come. Look, people can come early, come late, stay for the whole thing, or catch the replay. We're just glad so many of y'all like coming here and hanging out with us. So put Capitol Hill in the comments so we know you're here with us and if you're watching the replay. And we appreciate all the people watching the replay. We get a lot of replay views. I'm always so impressed. And we've gotten so much attention over the past few months.
Yeah, and in the comments, there's so many people in there commenting. I love going in there and talking to people.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. You're so good at that, Venus, always coming in. I always make a point to try to like or comment or at least try to let people know I see them. And I love how you come in there and reply to comments as well. That's so cool. So thank you. But yeah, we covered a lot today, whole lot. For anybody that wants the links to all the things we watched today, especially if there was something that you saw us play and you want to share that with others, just check back here on YouTube a little later. I'll add in the description, the YouTube description for this video, I'll add the links to everything. I always do that each week and add all the things we watch because I know a lot of people like to be able to have that information and pass it along and just share this video. This is the best way to help us reach more people is to like and share and hang out with us. We appreciate it.
Yes, we definitely.
And thank you, Venus's mom.
The new faces.
Yes, we love that. I'm a Pip is Venus's mom. Thank you, Venus's mom, for going to Capitol Hill together. We're so excited.
Thank you, Venus's mom.
We love that. We love that y'all went and did that.
Oh, it was amazing. Just to spend the day with my mom was amazing enough, but to be able to spend the day with her, to go in Washington and talk to the senator, there are no words. It was that great.
Well, it's incredibly powerful to have a family member with you. We don't see family members speaking out as much as we would like to see, and how amazing.
Yeah, and everybody's so busy, so that's why I even appreciate what she went through just to be able to go.
That is so. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that
Me
worked
too.
out.
And your memories of doing this together. So that's what touches my heart the most. So
Exactly.
Thank you both very much.
Yeah, really appreciate that. Before we wrap up with our Kratom song to close out, I talked about this at the beginning, but that was over 2 hours ago. I'm going to talk about something real quick. Let me put up on the screen here, and I'll do the little ticker here. But basically, for anybody that got here late and didn't catch the beginning, I just want to take a quick moment to talk about, why we're here. We've been coming here for the last 2.5 years. I built this. We built the Kratom Gals as just this place where we can all just come together and share information, hear from others, and just have a place where just we can talk about Kratom. It's nice having a place to do this because there's just not enough open and honest discussions about it. And in addition to this, the Kratom Gals also have the Kratom Stories podcast. I'm so excited it's coming back, and the Kratom Real Talk community at school. And all this work we do here is truly a labor of love, but we're just trying to fight all the misinformation and ensure that we have safe and legal access to Kratom for not just us, but everyone who needs it. So we're just entirely supported by the community, by you all. If you get value from this show and believe in the mission, definitely want to invite you to come be a partner in this work with us. I have the link up here on the screen and showing you the page. You can easily come over here, make a one-time donation or a monthly contribution. Any amount helps. It just allows us just to keep showing up here, speaking out, and fighting for the truth everywhere that it matters. And so, yeah, if we just got all the info, and there's me last year in front of Capitol Hill with my Kratom Gave Me My Life Back shirt, because I just am very passionate about making sure people know about Kratom, and we appreciate you all. Like I've said many times here, no one's paying me to do this. Nobody's paying any of us to do it, but it is helpful to have support from the community so that we can keep doing more, because there's always stuff to be done, and it's just so much. It's important work, and we're all happy to be here doing it.
And don't forget Georgia, the 17th.
Yes. So they're trying to do a statewide ban, right? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because that just came out of nowhere. I know they were trying to, and I know people went and spoke out, and then we didn't hear much. So
yeah, I think a lot of us kind of thought maybe it would
go away. Yeah. Hey, Trish, so glad this is your first time watching. Glad you're here. We do this every Saturday. Every 5-year veteran. That's awesome. I've been consuming natural kratom every day for over 7 years for my chronic pain. It's an amazing plant. So, Pip says, I was glad to put a parent's view on the kratom to our interview. I'm so glad. So glad having a family member speak out. So, and Lori, good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. Good to see. Glad you were able to pop in. All right. Well, I think we'll just wrap up with a fitting song to close out, Living the Kratom Life, because that's what we're all doing. And we'll be back next Saturday to do it again like we always do. And just always great hanging out. Great seeing everybody today.
It is. I love it.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. And
I love these.
Prayers.
Love these conversations. And Amanda was out today. It's her birthday. She was in the comments for a while in the chat. And then Sarah is out today. They both should be back next week. And we will see y'all soon. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Woke up today feeling light. Grab my blend, ready for flight. Green mango, it's my start. Red barley to calm my heart. From dawn to dusk, I'm feeling free. With every leaf from the kratom tree, I take my dose, I feel alive. Yeah, I'm living the kratom life. Oh, I'm living the kratom life. So wild, every day I'm feeling revived. Capsules packed with nature's glow. Herbal realm, you already know. White flame when I need the drive. It's the power that makes me thrive. Mix it up, I found my way. Living the kratom life every day. From dawn to dusk, I'm feeling free. With every leaf from the kratom tree, I take my dose, I feel alive. Yeah, I'm living the kratom life. Oh, I'm living the kratom life. So wild, every day I'm feeling revived. Capsules packed with nature's glow. Herbal realm, you already know. You already know. When the day is long, I feel the strain. I know that kratom eases the pain. So I take my blend and I rise. With herbal realm, I touch the skies. Oh, I'm living the kratom life. So wild, every day I'm feeling revived. Capsules packed with nature's glow. Herbal realm, you all